Good evening. Good evening, everyone. There he is, Ryan and Richard, Monday Night Family Show. Ricky, happy Monday.
Oh
Happy
yeah,
Monday.
the other thing, it's happy December.
Oh, geez, isn't it happy December? Well, hey, you know what they say? Guys, this show works best when you participate. Participation is key. And remember, our views on this in the moment of communication between Ricky and myself in the kitchen or in a hotel or wherever we are, don't take what we say just too seriously. I find in this world, Ricky, people are becoming very sensitive. You know, those glasses on your face, they look ugly, Ricky. I don't like them. Are you going to be okay with that? Can you take my beard? Can you take that? You don't
Whatever
have an
way
answer.
we are.
You don't have an answer for that. Hey, don't get sensitive. Hey, don't worry. Thanks for coming on the show. But I
Hey,
find
no problem. Hey, listen,
this whole world's
you
getting
you
soft and
you can
sensitive here.
you can call me an asshole, and I've called you an asshole, but you know what? We're all assholes in this world.
Well, do me a favor, eh? Just watch what you tell me because when you talk to me on this show and I talk to you like I normally do, some comments I like, some comments I don't like, some people I like for their comments, some people I don't like for their comments. In the end, what am I supposed to do? What do you people want? You want a cookie cutter performance? Last week, there, guys, on the Monday Night Family Show, we were discussing the EOC. We were discussing the EOC and we were discussing clocking limits and blah 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 blah. And I got midway through the week, I had Bob Waterfall contact me and just tear me right down, eh?
Hold on a minute. Who is Bob Waterfall? For example,
Well,
I'd like to know who that is.
I'm gonna tell you something. He's really well known, and Bob, I'm very sorry. I know he told me, he threatened me. Please don't talk about the EOC. Please don't bring us up. Just leave us alone. Nobody watches your show. Nobody watches it. But he knew about it. Nobody watches. So guys, you know, nobody's watching this shit.
Okay,
I
so
wouldn't. I
if
don't
I can
know.
stop you right
Nobody's
now,
watching it, but
that's what he said to you. So is that like what is he like a he wants to keep all the EOC members in a room or in an area where zero can come out from that, like is that like a dictator?
well,
Like
what I don't understand is I'm not allowed to make comments or views. You know, I think Bob did some moronic things. I talked to Bob after. Me and Bob seemed to get along on the same page. Okay, we calmed down and we did, but I think those views are moronic. They're moronic. They make no sense to me. I ask other pigeon men around here. I wasted my time and asked them just to dip a toe, right? These people looked at me like where are you flying pigeons in Mars? They asked if Canada is on Mars. Now, remember, so I have to give Bob an apology, an EOC apology for bringing them up. Very sensitive, very sensitive. I think they're doing great. I think you should change it even more. Fuck, get rid of the clocks or forget the benzene clocks. Go back to the manual clocks. Just have complete fun. You guys are doing great. You know what? If you guys want to raise the shipping prices, raise them up. You know what? You want to take the shipping prices down? Take them down. I don't care. But you know what? Everybody is so damn sensitive. So
hey, wait a
sensitive.
minute. Yeah, we do care for the sport.
No,
And
I'm getting to the
that
point.
to me, I'm just saying, you talked about what Bob said. Bob's almost, and I heard it through the grapevine, that apparently this Bob Waterfall mentioned that somebody's leaking stuff out about his combine and his methods of control. And if he finds out, they are going to be suspended from the combine, just like he did with the other. There was 5 people he suspended from his combine this year. That's like, wait a minute, did that go through a review with the so-called CU? like CU. Where's the CU? Where do these members have protection
Let me say
against
something.
somebody like that? Just let me finish. And so basically, he's throwing out these vibes like we can't express ourselves. We don't have any feelings about, for example, Oscar DeVries, what he did, he took the reins on that race, carted the birds, and did a very nice liberation, not from the race point. It was supposed to be from Matheson. He apparently took him back to North Bay, not from the race point. Okay, number one, number two. Okay, but then he scores the first 17 birds in that combine like 40 minutes ahead of anyone else. Okay, okay, okay.
Oh, we're not even get.
But wait a minute. But wait a minute. A lot of people felt itchy about that, and they said,
No.
"Oh, then next thing, this Oscar DeVries fella, I've never even met him. I wouldn't even know him if I fell over him." But he says, "Take my results off this. Take me off it. I want to come off. That's it." Meanwhile, his wife gains all these points, gets an award for this, and he basically says, "I cheated." But
But not,
I
not
heard
according.
I heard
Not
through
a.
the
Can
grapevine
I?
that
Yeah.
Bob Waterfall said he had a great race. That was a great race. But he called up and said, "Take me off. I don't want to be on. Take me off." I don't know how, Bob, you can let that guy haul that truck and let him do that. He should have been taken off soon. He said, "I'm going to haul the truck." He shouldn't have even hauled the truck because maybe he's a friend with people like
Okay,
Bob Waterfall.
I don't know, but I'm not allowed to have an opinion on that. I said to Bob nicely.
I have an opinion. I'm
Okay.
an outsider
Well,
and I
hold
have
on
an
a second.
opinion.
You just stay where you're sitting, okay? Because you gave me some information last week on the show, and I said something about somebody, and they get a little sensitive because the guy tells you he's first talking left. I don't think we should have let what. Who was it last week? Who? Wait. Tell me the story last week where I just got my hand smacked. You just told me. Tell me the story again, and tell me the story exactly how you said it, and I'm going to give you my answer, and then I'm going to apologize for being sensitive because I'm in the wrong, man. So, give me the story, the bullshit story you gave me last week. Give it to me again. And I'm going to give you the bullshit Ryan answer so everyone feels
The
sensitive.
story was discussing the EOC as far as their clocking. You could send 30 birds, I
Hmm.
believe. You're only allowed to clock five out of the 30. The
Hmm.
rest of them are just going for a joyride.
Now, who did you tell
Okay.
me you were talking? Who called you and was talking to you about this? You told me this, and then my
That was
opinion
Sal,
came up.
Sal
Sal,
from London. Him and I
Sal
were,
from London.
and then I believe
What? Tell
that
me the what
Sal
did he
said,
say to you? What did he say to you?
I believe that Sal said, "Well, there's not a lot of guys. We had a guy that had, he was clocking 30 birds all the time in the first drop. No one else could get their name on the sheet. And so guys get sensitive to that they can't make the sheet.
Hmm.
And I believe Sal said, I believe all the birds should get clocked.
Wait, who
And,
said
and,
all the
and
birds should get clocked?
yeah, if you clock 20 birds, your
Who
clock's
believes?
running,
Who
they should all
believes?
get clocked.
Who believes? You believe or Sal believes?
I believe.
Okay.
Sal
What
even said,
what did he
I
say?
believe. Sal said, but there's a lot of guys that they get upset because they can't get their birds on the sheet. And this is what we got a problem. And I said to Sal, I'll tell you what, tell those guys to get working, get in their car, get training, feeding properly, do all this shit, and get working. Don't complain about a guy that works hard to get in the top 30 positions, and now you're, what do they call it? Chastising him for
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that's for
So
that. where this
So,
all came up.
so what I thought you said, and I'm pretty sure you said it, but I could go back and look at it, but hey, it's not really a big deal. It's only an opinion on this that Sal said, I think it's good that there's only 5 bird clocking because the guy that gets 30 birds, he takes all the prizes away. And then when you told him the other side of it, then he changed his tune. Correct?
I believe so.
Okay. My opinion then to that is
I could
I'm not
almost hear it
I'm
at that time. Well, this guy's not getting on the sheet, and we got to feel sorry for
okay.
these guys.
Oh,
Therefore,
so
therefore, the clocking limit should be
sorry,
five
soft,
birds or whatever.
soft and sensitive. Sal's right. The guy who's working hard, forget him. You know what he is? He's a mob flyer. He's a bully. He's winning races. And you know what I'm doing? I'm I'm running around with my family and I'm cleaning the house and I'm vacuuming and I've got to go to the dentist 3 times a week and my aunt's in the hospital and whatever excuse you want to make, it's fine. Everyone's great. What's my honest thought? Well, that's a moronic thought. You talk left, then you change and you talk right. This side, this side. You know what is? I just talk this side. So, Sal, I'm very, very, very sorry you didn't like my answer. On that answer you gave Richard, I thought it was moronic. Very sorry. I hope this apology helps you out. If you think that the guy is clocking 30 birds ahead, or if anybody, the whole EOC apparently thinks that clocking limits are what we need to make it more fair. It's a moronic thought. But I seem to see it in Canada. Everyone penalizes the guy who goes to work, the guy who gets in, goes and goes and goes. They penalize him. They say, oh no, we're going to change it and we're going to screw this person. So I think it's very moronic. I said the same thing to Bob Waterfall. You're an idiot because you're penalizing. How are you going to come up with champion birds? How are you giving the proper results? And do you know what he said? Well, who wants to see a bird that's clocked 5 hours late? Bob, I'm talking about the birds that clock in the first, every bird that clocks. 10 birds on a drop, 20 birds on a drop, the bird that clocks at the end of the day. Bob, I want to see all that. Those birds earned that right. They earned it. So don't take it away from them because you know what? You're sensitive, Bob, and you're sensitive, Sal, and Richard, you're sensitive too. You know what? Don't penalize those pigeons. So guess what? I'm sorry for all the suck asses that can't raise pigeons, that can't swallow the truth. I'm very sorry for that, eh? And you want to know what?
You know,
I'll listen to me. I'll lose
Mhm.
every damn pigeon race. That's fine. But I'm gonna, what doesn't kill me makes me stronger, and I'm gonna keep trying until I win. Now we got comments coming in. So I'm gonna read the comments. Now, I don't know if that apology works for everyone, but we're gonna say that that one's gonna work for everyone. And I just realized again, you have to be much more sensitive on these shows. Can I get to the comments? We got lots of comments.
Go ahead.
I'll start reading them. JD Teal says, everyone has the right to an opinion and say whatever they want. Diamond Forever says, nice to see you again, brother. JD Teal, especially in discussion groups. Yeah. My man from Hawaii says, hey guys. Seven Hill Loft says, good evening, gentlemen. Good evening. Sean Nelson says, hey, do something like this at my club. They do something like this at my club. It sounds like in Sean's club, they have more sensitive people. So Sean, wherever he's in, he's not in the EOC. He's not. He's flying in another. He's flying in Jupiter. Jupiter seems to be sensitive too. Sorry about that. Sean says, you want to be top, work hard, or get better pigeons. Well, both things, you got to do both things. That's right. Sean also says all pigeons clocked and results must be put in. Wow. You know what? Sean, they're going to come after you. Bad. You're a bad boy, Sean. JD Teal says some guys want to raise more young birds to compete for compensate. Oh, sorry. Am I reading that the best? Some guys want to raise more young birds to compensate for hawks or has a lot of pairs of flying OLRs, and not all get sent. If a guy pays to fly, should fly whatever he wants. Well, I think JD Teal, he's on the same planet. Uh, Van Zoren, and I got to get to Van Zoren, guys, because there's a thunder pair up for him. I'm going to bring him up here in a minute. I can't find the Campos. I find it complete of exhaust who seriously about their sport. He used a couple words I can't read. Sorry about that, guys. Diamond Forever agrees. Too many cry asses, Michael Peeler says. And Milton, my man Milton says, how's it going, guys? Good evening. Good evening. Oh, one more comment and then I'll post. Then, Ricky, I'm going to post a few things. You think about it, we'll come back to this. Whatever top 5-10 birds are taken off our club are sent in. That's it. Other birds that was not sent in just lose. But other clubs report all their birds, but my bird's not reported. Beat most of the combine. Not fair. Okay, Ricky, take all that in. I have to throw up a few things here as well. Guys,
Okay.
right now running at Feathers Elite Pigeon Auctions this Wednesday. Okay, this Wednesday. We got some thoroughbreds closing, a match pairs from number one. This is what our match pairs look like. To the left, combination Pot and Lanen, and to the right, combination Van Zoren. Here's the first match pair that will close on Wednesday evening. This match pair, between the two of them, they have over 90 top prizes. Thank God in Holland they allow clocking. 90 top prizes. And they have prizes all the way from second to 200th out of thousands of pigeons. But this pair here is a super nice pair from combination Pot and Lanen, and I think this is a super future breeding couple. Also, we've got combination Van Zoren. Yes, yes, guys, this is the super pair. You're going to really like this. All I can say is Florida Pigeon Derby is in this. $102,000. Wow. Also running at Feathers Elite Pigeon Auctions. I want to talk about this. The one and only Dan Rego. Guys, I want you to take a look at these 4 incredible pigeons. Wait till you see the video we did today. It's being uploaded right now. It's going to come on this week. It will blow your socks off. And yes, tomorrow I will be going back to Guy Vandenauris to do some more breeder videos and another little interview with Guy. His auction is running right now. These are maybe the highest pedigree pigeons we have offered. These are outstanding. Check them out. Also, one more thing, guys. We have the 2024 Pigeon Boss Awards. We are giving away 3 prizes. Over the last 7 years, we've sold quite a few pigeons, and we've gotten a lot of results. But we want to give the top 3 results over the 7 years some prizes. We have $1,000 Feathers Elite dollar prizes. We have $1,000, $500, and a $300 all cash prizes. They're not cash; they're for Feathers Elite, so you can use them. FIPA bucks, you can use them on auction birds, importing, whatever. You want to buy a hoodie, you use it on our site. But we're giving 3 awards away. Again, send in your results with, they have to be from Feathers Elite Pigeons in the pedigree. We have to see it in there, just like we have here. Frank Eichhorn sent this in. This is our first entrant. Daughter Jano, Dam to Jump, 2021 Pioneer winner. There it is. So that's his entrance. There you see it. Send them in. They got to be in by December 22nd. We're going to give the prizes away on December 28th. There are the rules. Everything is on our website. So you go take a look at them. And if you want to play. We hope that you do. Give a little more information, and we're going to make it worth your while. I think after 7 years, we can do something like this. And if it goes good and people participate, then we will do it next year, and we'll raise the prices up a little higher and give bigger and bigger prizes. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, and I'm sure there's more comments, where do we go from here, Ricky?
Well, I'm going to ask a question, and I know the answer, But I'm just going to ask you a question. You're auctioning birds off, or auction is. Um, what would be the volume of pigeon flyers that we're auctioning these birds off? Like, are we talking like you're auctioning birds off from flyers like with maybe 500 or 700 people in a country, or like how many flyers would we be talking about that have these achievements?
Well, listen,
Against
as
how many flyers would you
as
I'm just saying,
as
like,
okay, I
a lot
know.
of people go, wow, he's probably auctioning birds off, they probably only got 250 flyers. That, there's one guy, he did pretty good. Like, how,
Okay,
I'm just
can I just
saying, I
talk? Yeah.
know the
Okay.
answer, but give me the answer.
Well, I'm going to say this. Every bird we auction off here, they fly against thousands of pigeons and hundreds of breeders. So that's one thing. But the thing that I can't figure out about Mr. Bob Waterfall, and again, he wants me to leave the combine alone and wants me to, don't bring it up. You're making us look bad. Bob, I'm not making your combine look bad. You're the president of it. You're the president. You're the face of it. Okay, so you took that responsibility on when you raised your hand and said, I will be the goat. I will be the boss. I will be the shepherd. I will be this. You took that on yourself. So
Hey, he's
he
giving,
says to me,
I
he
would
says
have
to
to
me
say
that
that's a,
I'm making them look bad. He's saying then to me that the only reason we need to know about champion birds, Ryan, or the only reason why you want to know champion birds is because they're worth more money. No, in Canada, the pigeons aren't worth a dollar. Okay, pigeons aren't worth a dollar. The program's not hard enough. The competition's not hard enough. The pigeons aren't really worth anything. What champion birds do is they allow you to judge amongst your competition who has the best and the most consistent pigeons, and you have to clock all the pigeons to see that, Bob. Okay, so that pigeon, if he comes every time sixth, he's first drop six, and every time he gets beat by five other pigeons, and they're never first ever. Every week is a different five. He's really the best pigeon, but he's never going to get any credit on your system. And you know what? You can't find your champion birds that way. Well, what did he say? Well, you should keep notes. Why would I keep notes? Isn't that why I have a Benson clock? Isn't that why we do champion bird points? Isn't this is why? But wait a minute. When I bring this up, I make the EOC look bad. I'm sorry. This is just information that I get that I give. What do you want? I think it's ridiculous because there's people who buy birds from us from the EOC, or there's people who are participating in the EOC. They don't like this. So they talk to me. We talk just like we're doing here now. And you know what? I talked to Bob. I didn't think Bob was that bad of a guy, right? But some of the views, I think they're idiotic. They're silly.
you
They're a
know,
joke. Am I
I,
not?
when I'm looking here, hey, Bob, you're watching our show. Hey, Bob, come on and make a comment.
No.
Not like in your territory, you cut us off. Like we can't have any views because you don't want anybody to hear about us. Bob, put your pants on and make a comment. Come on the show. Get your other buddy, the guy that you said could drive the truck that scammed Oscar DeVries, get him on the show. Put your pants on, man. Stand up proud. If you think you're doing right, stand up proud. Be
So
a
any
proud man,
anyways,
but you're not.
I
Get on the
offered
show.
I offered him to come on, and he said, "I don't want to come on. I'm not interested. Nobody watches your show."
He's not proud of himself.
Well,
His
I
judgment, I'm sorry, but I think there's a place, they call it the CU. If the CU, they should look at this performance, Bob. I think you should be eliminated. Honest to
oh,
God, 100%.
no,
Be eliminated,
okay.
my friend. Be
So then
eliminated.
I hear more stuff, and this is the thing. I get to hear stuff now. I hear that they they're they don't let people in their combine. I know. I think a guy I've heard, Sam Ferreira, he got kicked out for whatever reason it was. Well, I want to know, did Sam Ferreira, I like him, not like him? I don't know the guy. I don't know him, but I know this. He likes to fly pigeons. Okay, that's one thing I like. When we in Canada, especially, they don't really have a lot of pigeon flyers. I mean, it's not a really big thing. So why don't you allow the people in? Why don't you allow the people in? Why do you say
I
no?
I
He's
th-
not
I
allowed. I,
bel
I
I
don't
bel
understand why.
may,
Why?
maybe I'm wrong, but I heard that Sam got expelled or suspended, just like boom, like that Bill fell up in Peterborough. He got suspended. I believe there's another three or four guys. They just got suspended. Um, why? Did they go in front of a committee? What did they do?
Well, I want.
Did they
What?
did they rape some, maybe your mother or your daughter? Or that has nothing to do with pigeon flying, my friend. Did you see them drunk in the street? Nothing to do with pigeon flying. Or he had an opinion and you ejected him. Is that not Bob? Come on, stand up for yourself, man. Don't hide behind the bushes, eh? Come on.
Well, my question here is, and Mike Vanderyak says, did the EOC introduce a five-bird shipping limit or a five-bird clocking limit? So, Mike, I'm going to get you up to speed with the ridiculous, and I mean the absolute ridiculous new rules in the Eastern Ontario Combine. For the main race, for all the for all the glitz and glory, you're allowed to send five pigeons. Each breeder could send five pigeons. Five. Okay, look, five. Those birds are going to go up 30 minutes before the rest. They're going to do this at every race in Old Birds from 100 miles to 500 miles, okay? They're going to do this. And those birds are going to count for the race results. Now, they're going to have a second race where you're allowed to send 25 or 30 birds. I don't know what it is, blah, blah, blah. And those birds, they don't get a reading. They just fly for fun. They fly for fun. Now, what I'm trying to figure,
They fly 500 miles
500.
for fun.
Hey, Ricky, guess what? All those years you got in the truck and drove, did you get paid every day, or did you only get paid on when you worked one day of the week? You know?
Yeah, I know. My boss, he never said, "Hey, Rick, you only get paid for 20 miles. The other 300 miles you're driving, you don't get paid, son." I mean,
So,
doesn't
so,
make sense.
so that's the first moronic thing that they're gonna. That's the first thing they implement. They don't care about champion birds. They won't care about champion loft points. They can't judge any of that. But my question is, they said they want to make it fair. And I said to Bob, well, when you get out to Hearst, which is 400 miles, and there's 20 members, and some of the members only have one or two birds to send, right? Because they've whittled their teams away, because you blew them away, sending them in little groups of five. Is that going to be fair then for the guy who sends his five birds and maybe Dave Crozier can only send one bird? That's not fair to Dave, is it? No, no, that's not fair. If the lowest guy can only send one bird because that's all he has or it's all he wants to ship, then everyone should ship one bird so everything's fair. Because everything's about being fair. And you know what? There should be a rule the EOC should put in. You can't buy expensive pigeons with good pedigrees. You can't do that. You can't train your pigeons. You can't do that. You can't buy good feed. You can't do that. And don't, you know what? You can't have an opinion. You're not allowed to have any of that. Because you know why? We're afraid. We're afraid. We're all afraid. And I said to Bob, the people who won last year, you just give them more incentive to win again this year because you penalized them for winning. That makes them want to work harder. And I hope that does happen. I hope it does. But we got more comments, so let me
I
post
just
some
want to
more.
go back to that question I asked you before, and we got sidetracked. You're auctioning birds off from top-notch flyers, and we'll just talk Holland and Belgium. How many participants are there in Belgium? I believe there's about 14,000.
Yeah, but
Right. Okay. Well, how many
Bob's
in
in
Holland?
Canada. Bob's in
Huh?
Canada. Bob said he's
No.
in Canada.
No,
Bob's in
but
Canada.
I just want to say people maybe people say, well, how come Ryan you're auctioning these birds off? This guy maybe only comes a group of
Do,
25
do, do, do you want me?
members.
Do you want me to tell you something? I had people ask me from Canada. They were very cute questions. Well, why don't you auction off pigeons from Canada into Belgium? Why don't you bring some Canadian birds and auction them off? Because the combines, they come up with moronic ideas. I'm not allowed to say that. Sensitive. It's very sensitive. Very sensitive. Can I read the comments now? Frank Eichhorn says, sounds like Bob's a little bit ass backwards. Well, watch it, Frank. You're in the Canadian Racing Pigeon Union. Bob's doing a great job. He thinks he's doing great, and watch what you say because I don't want them to come after you. Sean says, my exact complete my exact comment to our club president: not clocking all birds affect advantage speed birds, champion birds, etc. Well, you're right. Yes, you are. Oh, Van Zorn says, give my opinion about if De Vries had done this in the Netherlands, he would never be have able to keep pigeons again, and I think he would have had to buy new windows every week because they would throw stones. Well, watch out. You have to watch
That's
with
a
Oscar.
hundred percent.
You have to
Wow.
watch with Oscar. Oscar's very, very sensitive. He's very sensitive. And again, I apologize to Oscar. You cheated in black and white. I've seen you bury people. I've seen you bury people that had a rip in their paper on their manual clock. I've seen you bury people in other rules that have benefited you, and now it got reversed, and it was on you. So you have to take it, and it's okay. But don't be so sensitive. Hold on, we have more comments. Why are you flying then? Says Mike Green. Uh, Mike Vandriak comes up with no darkening. Yeah, I'm surprised they don't stop people from darkening. Oh, and then I have to give Bob credit. Bob, being a president, he he made of a good flyer in their area, saying that the birds were garbage, not very good, but people just live on the line of flight. Hmm. I love this theory of line of flight. Sure, there's a little line of flight in everything. When the wind blows out of the west, the people on the east are going to get them. When the wind blows out of the other side gets them. But always remember, the best pigeons, they will create the drag. The best pigeons will. The pigeons that have worked the hardest, put the most work in, are in the best condition. They create the majority of the drag. But Bob don't believe that. Bob just thinks, well, that person lives in a honey hole. And their birds are garbage. Their birds are garbage. You know, I kind of find it funny, but the weekend that Oscar De Vries won, it was over on Bob's side. Bob couldn't sniff it that day. The wind was on your side, Bob, but you couldn't get a sniff. The only person that could get a sniff was Ray Naglecki. He was on that side, and Caleb and Chris Marshman, and they weren't on the drag side. But Bob, you didn't get one. Why not? You flew better than Oscar and Linda every race, every single race you did. I looked. But anyways, it doesn't matter. Me and Bob's views on this aren't the same. I gave him the opportunity if he did want to come on. He didn't, but
But
he asked
the
me
thing the
to
thing
play the
is
combine a lot.
this gentleman Bob, he is the president of the EOC, and he is a, I have to say, a dictator. That's a dictator, this guy. And he's taking control. He lets people cheat under his control. And then he won't come on the show and stand up for himself. Meanwhile, he's sitting there on the couch just fuming. You see how red my face is, Bob? You're probably hotter than this. Come on the show, Bob. Stand up. Put your big pants on. Get your boots on. Come on the show, Bob. Don't start talking after. Well. Come on, Bob.
Hold on. I got some more comments. Jason Jordan says, flying for fun. Whoa, gotta love the politics. Club racing isn't fair because not all flyers live on the same block, wins, blah, 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 blah. Listen, in life, I've learned something. No, nothing is fair. Nothing is fair. Nothing is fair. I mean, what is fair? Like, think about what we're saying. You have to work hard and you have to get some luck. And sometimes you're going to get the win, and sometimes you're going to buy a bird that makes that difference. But you have to work hard at the whole thing in life to get ahead. You have to do that. It just doesn't fall into your lap unless you get a lottery ticket. Well, there you go. Normally,
No,
people
wait,
blow that.
Ryan, it started at the beginning. You know, when you had to swim up the canal? You had to make that chance up the canal. There was thousands of you trying to get to the canal, and you finally got there. You made it. And then you came out and you opened your eyes up and you started breathing and you this is the start of
So
life.
So here's the thing. Take a look at what people are writing. This is why pigeon racing in America and Canada will never be at the same level, says JD Teal. Mike Green says, now wonder why the sport is dying. The sport dies because the older people, and I hate to use this, older people that are set in their ways, that are slowing down from work, that don't want to push anymore, they have to make the tweak rules and the adjustments to stop the people that want to work or something, or just bad sports. I don't know what this is, but I don't understand. I said to Bob, when I go to Russia, I'm going to bring a golf club to play hockey. And he said, well, what does that mean? I said, how come in Russia they wear all the same equipment? They have a hockey puck that's the same, and a hockey stick, and a helmet, and shoulder pads, knee pads, and they're using hockey skates and not figure skates. And okay, yeah, he agrees. Well, I said, well, how come in Canada you can't have a shipping limit? Any birds that you want to send over is $2 or $3 a bird. All the birds get clocked, and everything gets run the same way as they do in Europe. Play the game the same way. All these pigeons that you're flying, they all come from Europe anyways. Why don't you just play it the same way? And I think his five bird club is a great idea, but you don't make your five bird club the main race. You have that as the second race, a fun thing to let everyone even up. Great.
Yeah, to
I'm
show
good
you
with
can
that.
pick your five
Yes.
birds.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Bob, you guys don't pick your birds enough to know. Nobody does it because there's no pooling. As Chris Clearbot said, do you know how you become good at selecting pigeons in races? Every week you have to spend so much money on gambling. Once you start spending money every week gambling, you start selecting a little bit better. You start looking a little bit better. You start noticing a little bit more because you're blowing your money. And I think Bob's idea is good. That's not a moronic idea. I just don't think it should be the main race. And I don't think you should penalize the people that have big teams, the people that want to send 100, the people that want to send 200. What's the problem? You know what? I have a question. If Jan Hoymans came to Canada and he said he's going to partner up with Dave Crozier, I'm going to use Dave Crozier's name because I like Dave. And Dave's thinking a little bit outside the box. Jan Hoyman says to Dave Crozier, okay, we're going to fly. Every week, I'm sending 250 young birds. That won't happen because the EOC made up a bunch of rules, or the Eastern Ontario Combine, the Up North Combine, it's all a bunch of rules that you're only allowed to ship so many birds. But why? Don't we want to fly against big numbers? Isn't that awesome? Isn't it awesome to watch a 50,000 bird release? Hey, you know what? Ricky, you know what we're going to do? Guys, you know what we're going to do for you? We're going to show you something, a little fantasy. Take a look at the screen and enjoy what I'm going to show you. Okay? Watch this video. There's 50,000 on the screen. There they go. Look at them coming out. 50,000 pigeons, and they're only 60 miles from the lofts. Take a look at that screen, guys. Take a look at the pigeons. They're all going home. No circling, going straight home. Okay? That's what we want to be doing in Canada. That's what we want to be doing in America. And we can do that if we stop thinking like we're afraid to lose. I think I'm right.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. 100% right. And don't chastise. I'm going to use the great player Wayne Gretzky when he came out with a curved hockey stick. Curved. Hey, a lot of people said, "Oh, that's curved. That's not right." But hey, they're all playing with curved hockey sticks now. Like, like
We
you
know,
know what I
Ricky. You know,
mean? Like, and the thing is, Bob, you should hold your head up because your name's been put out there a lot of times. And you should say to your family, look at that on that show. My name was called out a lot of times. But maybe you're going to have somebody in the family say you were called out to come on the show and just put your viewpoints in, Bob. But you didn't have enough Pinookies to do it.
well, no, no. You know what? You know what? He called me. He voiced his opinion, and I had to take that. Okay, that's fine. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry that he's the president. Right? Maybe he should step down if you can't take the fire. And you know, like he said, well, Ryan, this is why you're not in any clubs or combines. Yeah, because I'm not a sheep, and I wouldn't let somebody like you do that to me when I'm trying my best to fly pigeons. I wouldn't. You're not going to take that away from my pigeons. But anyways, Jeff Henderson from Australia says Bob seems like a retard. Okay, that's Jeff Henderson. Dave Crozier, he's in the house. The Bowmanville Club ships from the next door house to Sam, and it is the club, and it is the club of the EOC president. Okay, well, I don't know what happened to Sam Ferrer. Again, I think everyone should be allowed to race pigeons, regardless if we argue or we don't see eye to eye on anything. I don't think we have
I'd
the
like to know.
op
Okay, he got ejected from that club, from the EOC, and the president of the EOC, who is Bob, he should know why he got ejected and come on the show and tell us because we think Sam, uh, like I
but
know
you
Sam. He's a nice guy. I don't know why he got ejected. Like I hear this now, he's done. Like holy shit. And then other guys, they got ejected. Bob said to eject them. Okay, so Bob, come on. Did he rape your
okay,
grandmother? Like
Richard,
what did he
Richard.
do?
Okay,
I don't know. What
no,
did
he
he
didn't.
do? Come on, Bob.
He didn't do anything. He's just trying to slow down the growth of the sport. He's penalizing people for working hard, for spending money, for making that their hobby that they're serious about. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. Sergio Perez says you have to focus on the winners. When everyone is a winner, there isn't a true winner. Limitation birds cause them to go backwards. Sergio, do you want to know what? If I was so wrong and you were so wrong, Richard, at what we said about Bob, okay? If we were wrong, and not Bob, we're talking Bob is the president of the EOC. So we're not going to call him Bob. We're going to call him EOC Bob. EOC Bob. It's the whole thing. How come nobody is standing up for what the EOC wanted? How come nobody's standing up and saying, yeah, those ideas are good. Those ideas are good. This page must be a page of winners or people who want to win or people who want to lose, people who want to try hard. You know what? Because everyone is saying the same thing. So I'm sure in that room of 30 men, I'm sure a lot of them thought the way this group is thinking right here. But for some reason, and I don't know why, people don't stand up and put their foot down and say, this is horse shit. This is bullshit. If I want to work hard and win, I'm going to have to do it. Or somebody like Sam Ferreira is going to beat my ass every week, or Dave Crozier, or Chris Marshman, or Caleb Marshman, or Sean Whetstone, or Terry Wilner. They're going to beat my ass every week, or Oscar DeVries because they go to work. Oh, not Oscar because he cheats. But besides that, sorry, I was getting carried away. Anyways,
Yeah,
let's keep
well,
looking. Let's keep looking away. EGL Loft says, hello, guys. Michael Peebler says, the EOC members need a backbone and a vote. Bob's sorry, ass out. Jason Mahalik says, hello. Jordan, Jason Jordan. Let me just read. Jason Jordan says, exactly. Like you said, nothing is fair. So trying to regulate fairness with dumb rules like your combine president is doing is kind of insane. And I'm not a part of the combine. I'm not a part of it. We just were told about it. We were told about it. We were talking about it with other pigeon people. And when I heard this, and actually people didn't stand up, and it really bothers me. And the whole EOC bothered me that people didn't stand up. People could tell me, and guess what I'm doing here? Guess what I'm doing, Richard? And guess what you're doing? We're standing up for something that we're not even involved in because it's wrong. And you want to know you know who's getting robbed? Forget the people. Forget the flyers. The flyers don't get robbed. It's the pigeons that get robbed. And you know what? Stick them down the road and push them harder and push them harder and push them harder. And guess what? They don't even get a score. What a cruel sport. You know what? I think animal rights should get in here and shut it down. Shut it down. Because you know what? It's ridiculous. I'm sorry, eh? I'm going the opposite side now. I'm a moron. But if you're not going to give the bird the true reading and you ask him to give you his best, and hey, push 300 miles in a headwind, 20-mile-an-hour headwind, or 30-mile-an-hour crosswind, you ask him to do that, and then guess what? Nah, we're not going to score you. Because you know what? Richard's sensitive. He's going to be dead last again this week because he was sitting on the couch drinking beers and eating hot dogs and watching baseball. You know what you're gonna do? But meanwhile, Sean Whetstone, he said, "The hell with you all. I'm gonna train and I'm gonna feed good and I'm gonna buy the best pigeons that money can buy and I'm gonna work, 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 work." And you know what? They're gonna penalize them for it. So I really think the whole sport needs to wake up, or we just get the animal people in and we just say, yeah, let's just shut it down because we just can't do it right. And you know what? There's bowling, guys. There's darts. There's
darts.
miniature golf. There's miniature golf. There's TV shows. You can watch The Housewives.
You
Sit
can
down and
play
watch The Housewives.
Nintendo. Nintendo's even fun. Hey, listen, why doesn't the CU, the organization that governs this, I'm sure they're watching this show, why don't they step in? Or are they a bunch of cowards too? They're a bunch of, sorry, cowards.
Well,
Protect,
and
protect the CU members. They pay money. CU, that's a union. Protect these people from this kind of judgment. And that judgment will go right across the country.
okay, we got some more comments. Antonio Rodriguez says,
I
race
gotta let the
location.
dog. Hey Ryan, I gotta let the
Yeah,
dog out. I'm gonna be
okay,
about a minute.
okay. Antonio Rodriguez says race limitations should be changed every couple of years. That would keep people racing longer. Yeah, that's an idea. Again, what will happen there is again you get people fighting. You know as well as I do, people are always fighting. People are always if you change the location, the guys that were hot this year, if the location changes now, they're kind of off, and I get that. I agree. I think it's a good idea. I think it adds a little more fun. As long as you guys are fair, I'm fine with that. There's an EOC are on here, and none of them are standing up, saying a word. Is there an EOC member on here? None of them are saying anything. Okay, I agree. Combination Van Zoren, guys. Right here, this man has the match pair up for grabs at Feathers Elite Pigeon Auctions right now. The auction is going to close on Wednesday. So take a look at the match pair. I think you guys will be super happy. But he says, if I am flying against 500 pigeons, I stop immediately. Well, Alfred, I'm going to remind you in North America, Canada, United States, there's some areas where it's not very big. And that's a shame. And I will say in the Eastern Ontario Combine, I know of about 5 people that want to fly pigeons there, and for certain reasons, arguments, views that weren't seen the same way, people got told they weren't allowed to, stopped, said no. The EOC has 45 members. They got rid of 5 more members. My question is, take a look at how old the members are in the EOC. And it's very simple. Within 10 years, the EOC will have about 15 members left. Because guess what? The clock is running out, right? So, as a president or as the people in the EOC, their goal should be to get as many new young people or find new people, young or old, it doesn't matter, to get into the sport. And you know what? Hey, if someone has an argument or gets into something, sure, you know what? Tell them, have a talk to them after it's calmed down. And you know what? I'm sure what anyone did, what their opinion is, you can let them back in and fly. Okay? I'm sure you can do that. I don't think people should be banned for a lifetime. This isn't committing major crimes. This is pigeon flying. It's a hobby. Anyways, you know what? Again, I'm standing up for people like Sam Ferreira, people in the EOC, and I'm using Sam's name because this is what I heard. Sorry, Sam, if I'm using your name or whatever, don't get sensitive. But you want to know what I still think is funny? Nobody stands up for these people. Nobody stands up for us. I don't need
Oh,
anyone to. I'll stand up on my own. But what I will say is, guys, if you see something not going right, stand up. Say, hey, this isn't right.
can I ask you something? Are there not people in the they call it CU? Uh, there, everybody, all these people pay into the CU, this group, and we're getting people watching this show from Australia, from Holland, Belgium, Germany, Scotland, Ireland, all the way from these countries. And I really appreciate people watching our show. And the opinions are 100% great. But we haven't had anyone from Canada. The American people have come on and they give their views, but we haven't had anyone from Canada that say, I'm going to use Mike Vanderyak. He's been flying pigeons for a long time, like a long time. But Mike asked some questions, but let's get some views from people that have had
Okay,
pigeons here in Canada. They paid
hold,
into the
hold on, hold
CU
on,
and
hold
they
on.
watch what's happening with this one EOC organization. And I hate
And
to say it, folks,
and hold
but
on, hold on.
myself, Ryan, and I, we got kicked out of the whatever it was because of actually baloney. And if we had a good lawyer or money, they know. Don't
Listen,
F with me, boy, because
listen,
you got to get a lawyer and that's cost you
listen,
5 grand. Hey, boy, you
listen,
can't pay your
listen.
grocery bill, so don't F with me. And this is
Hold,
what happens. So
guys.
let's get some, anybody
Okay,
watching that
can
has more than 30 years experience in pigeon flying, been a member of the CU, come on the show and verbalize yourself.
okay, can
Frank
I just
Icorn,
can,
he said something. Now let's have somebody else come
I'm gonna
on.
can I read
And
the
yeah,
comment? Can I read the
yeah.
comment now?
Go ahead,
Okay.
bud.
So Gerber Bar, he is I think he's a fairly new flyer. Okay, he's in British Columbia. He says our club in British Columbia has a 5 bird clocking limit up to 299 miles and open clocking after 300 miles. Personally, I do not like the clocking limit because I would like to know if my birds came 40th place or 50th place. Then it comes in higher because their fanciers have a clocking limit. I want to know exactly how good or how bad my birds actually are. It sounds to me like in British Columbia, there's suck asses too. Geez, It
No, but
this disease this
this
disease is
person here
he's
says
right.
exactly right.
He's right because there's a disease in British Columbia. There's a disease. There's a disease, a loser disease, a loser disease.
Yeah.
And Mr. Gerber Bar, I know he bought some pigeons from us. I know he spends money on pigeons. I've seen him post some videos, and he's very proud of his pigeons. And his pigeons, they're doing great in British Columbia, and congratulations. But he's exactly right. He can't really figure out if his birds are doing as good as he thinks they are, because they're not giving him the real result.
He is 100% right. I'm going to give you a demonstration here. Okay, I've got 40 kids. These pigeons are my team. They're my kids, my children. I school them from the time they were hatched right up, and I start training them, and I sign them up and onto a combine, onto whatever. I want to see the results from all my kids. I want to see the results right from start to finish. I want to say, Johnny, I put 40 of yous in. You were the last bird last week. But next week, Johnny, you were the 20th bird. I want to give those birds credit for the work they did. And what are these guys doing here? Hey, Bob, your name's coming up again. And now it's all the way out to BC. Bob.
Now hold on.
Ah,
Now
hey, Bob, please don't be the Prime Minister of Canada, please. There's going to be
hold,
a lot of changes here, and I don't want to
I
see
got
that.
okay. So JD Teal, we got more comments. JD Teal says they boundary you out if you win too much, or they create bullshit rules to benefit them. And that's right, because you want to know what? It's easier to make a rule change. It's easier to cut somebody out than it is to get your lazy ass off the couch, get out there and play with those pigeons, get out there and invest in your pigeons, get out there and put the time and effort and energy in. But you know what? Why do that? You might as well just say, I think JD Teal, he's in a good spot. We're going to cut that road. We're going to cut it off right by his road so we don't have to play against him no more. Now, we don't have to work any harder. We just eliminate him and we can go back to doing this.
They did that to Sam Ferreira, I believe.
I don't know
Now
what they
this man,
did.
this fellow's stuck.
Uh, Okay, so Gavin Hunter says, I'm going to go back and watch that episode. You guys can watch any episode. Again, and Bob said something to me, well, you have to watch what you say because you could get a lawsuit. Listen, I don't have two pennies to rub together, so you can go and get a lawyer and you can sue me and do whatever you want. I don't really care. It's my opinion. It's my opinion, and I'm allowed to have an opinion. I'm allowed to say I don't like that. That's not right. That's not right what you did, but that's my opinion. Bob, you think this is right. Some of the members in the EOC think this is right. And some of the people are afraid to say something because guess what else I've heard? I've heard something and it makes me sick. It makes me want to puke. If you're caught talking about this, okay? He said to me, Bob said directly, I'm who told you this information? And I gave him a bunch of names who told me the information or who may have told me the information. Okay? I gave him a list of names that could have told me this information. And he said, I'm going to contact the person I think who did it. And they may get get banned or penalized or whatever he said, a suspension. Can you imagine? For having an opinion, they're going to suspend you out of pigeon racing. You know what, Richard? It's the most saddest sport on the earth.
What do they do in Europe? Do they have the
But they could
same?
but they couldn't tell Oscar De Vries, you took the birds and you cheated. Because you know what? He showed up with the truck and he drove them, and it's Oscar, and he sells feed. And you know he's got a $500,000 pigeon loft. He would never cheat. Why would he cheat? I don't know. Why did he cheat that day? He did nothing all year, and then all of a sudden, like thunder and lightning, poof, out of the blue. And then he writes to Bob and says, hey, if you want to take that result down, you can. That's your conscience. That's your conscience kicking in. It's your conscience. But we're not going back onto that. We got some more comments. Here in Hawaii, there's no limit on sending pigeons, but you can only clock 3. Okay, that's sad. Again, I in Hawaii, they're candy asses too. Do you see it? Hawaii, they're sensitive. I'm not saying EJL Loft is. I'm just saying. Uh, Participation badges for the EOC. I think they should. I think everybody that sends a bird to the race should get a ribbon for participation. Stephen Collins says the sport on JD. Same here. Spot on, JD. Spot on. So, in Australia, they're only allowed to clock 1 bird. They're allowed to send, I think, 30 or 40 birds or 50 birds. I'm not sure what it is. They have like 2,000 bird releases. They're only allowed to clock 1 bird in the club. Can you imagine that
Wow.
they only show 1 bird? And Steven told me this. I'm feeling so bad. It's disgusting. And it's because the losers that can't figure it out, they're the presidents and they dictate what's going to happen. It's all over the world, eh? The poison's all over the world. Because you know what? In life, there's a lot of losers, man. And you know what? Losers hate losing. Instead of working hard, they just make the rules in their favor. Gavin Hunter says, no whistleblower protection, okay? Antonio Rodriguez says, because of the one-off races, people just use combines as a hobby. No money in combines. That's going to die out soon. That's another thing. Every race, there should be some money. We're in the 2020, we're in the 21st century. I don't think on every race, it's like, think about it. Look what you pay for feed. Look what you pay for training. Look what you pay for anything. Look at what you pay for groceries, and you guys can't put a $20 bill or a $50 bill into a race and keep the sport going. But you know what? The losers that don't put the work in, they don't want to gamble because they don't want to put the work in, or they're busy with other things.
You know
So
what it
that's
is, Ryan? Ryan, they can't train this week because they're waiting for the drywall to dry. You know what I mean? The putty on the drywall. And, I hate to say it, but I heard enough of this garbage. But people that want to work, they're getting penalized for their work.
Stephen
Like,
Collins says. Yeah, Stephen Collins says, I've been trying to have open boundaries in our club, but they scared to do it, frightened of competition. That's sad. Okay. Brad Harper says, the disease is called woke and it's everywhere. Clubs and OLRs, the sport will not last if they keep doing this. He's 100%. John Willis says, I don't understand the clocking limit. If a breeder takes the time to enter, they should know how good his birds are. John Willis, he's on our same page. David Tracy says, all this crazy shit is why the sport is dying in North America. Wow. JD Teal says, they asked me how I was training my birds. I said all year long. He told them exactly what they did, and they put the boundaries after that season. So he told them what he did, and they basically pushed him out on boundaries. Here in Australia, says Stephen Collins, you can send 40, but only 1 bird clocks.
wow. So
Um,
you got 40 birds. That's your team. Your team. And
we got lots of comments, Ricky. Can I gotta
wow.
keep reading. You know what?
This
This is
this is
this is. Listen, you are the
Hey Bob,
people.
maybe you're in the right track, eh, Bob? Get the whole world to do what you're doing. Figure it out, Bob.
Okay,
They
so
don't do it in Europe, do they yet?
here on. Let's see what Van Zoren says. I experienced the same thing. They they thought he was flying too fast. We were not allowed to participate anymore. No more club basketing in a club 50 kilometers away. Kiki, 14 years old, youth champion of the Netherlands, was completely ignored. There's only one answer for such people. Fly even faster. My father and I have shown that. Basically, he's saying he just worked harder and he's still winning. They try and stop them there, even in Holland. James Borden says, losers hate winners. I stopped playing club races for the same reason. So look, there's another pigeon man we lost. That's a really sad story. James doesn't play anymore in club racing because if you win, they find a way to stop you. Gerber says, I think the reason behind it is that it creates a fair ground between the guys that ship 10 pigeons or 100 pigeons, which I understand to some degree, but it punishes the person that does not doesn't do the extra work feeding, training, blah 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 blah. Okay, hold on. Gerber, don't make an excuse. You're making an excuse because Richard is only going to send 10 pigeons and Ryan's going to send 200 pigeons. If Richard is a smart pigeon man and has his birds focused and has his birds right and has his birds clean and has everything he's done to the T, and Ryan sits in the house and takes 200 birds to the club and he's drinking beer and he doesn't train them and he doesn't loft fly them, then Ryan is going to get handed by Richard. But if Ryan is doing the same as Richard, hey, Ryan has just as good of a shot and Ryan has a few more bullets in the gun. But it doesn't mean it's pigeon still versus pigeon, pigeon versus pigeon. That's what it comes down to. And people just can't take this. They penalize people for having 200 pigeons to fly. I love 200 pigeons to fly. I know how hard it is to take care of 200 pigeons to fly. You can't condition them the same way as you can condition 40 or 50 pigeons. Let me throw in some more comments. We got lots of comments. You guys are doing great tonight. You know what? This is what we like to see. And yes, we talk about pigeon things. We're just still on this little kick. I don't know how this got on, but we did. It was a very sensitive week. Mike Green says, our club, you ship 30 birds a race, 30 birds because the trailer capacity. All birds are clocked and counted. Mike, don't ever change that. Don't ever change that. Jeff Henderson says from Australia, we put to the members to fly the live system this year. That way people can see how the birds arrive. 0 to 2,000. Let's see if they approve it. I hope they do for you, Jeff Henderson. Hopefully you're doing well. Next thing they will be saying you can only ship one bird. Well, hey, if you're only allowed to ship one bird, then it's one bird. Everything's ridiculous. It's just getting more and more ridiculous. And I'm not against shipping one bird, but have a main race. And if you want to have a one bird specialty club, have a one bird specialty club. You know, I don't think all the ideas are bad. I don't think a 5 bird clocking limit is bad, but make it a race of those birds and then have the main race. You can have a 5 bird club, a 3 bird club, a 2 bird club, a 1 bird club. You can have all those clubs because the clocks can do it. And you know, then the small lofts can feel like they're a part of it, you know, or the small loft can compete with the big lofts. You have to play it regular, and then you have your specialty races. That's it. And you know, Bob, we talked about this. The 5 bird idea, great, but you can't make it the real race. You can't penalize the people that want to send the birds. And do you know what? Your truck going down the road, if the truck holds 5,000 pigeons, if it does, or 2,000, you want every week to have 2,000 birds on there. You want that trailer to go full. So you say to people, we're going to encourage you to put more birds on. After your 30 birds, it's $2 a bird. Get the truck full. And you want to know what? You're going to have bigger releases, which gives you better pigeons, which makes it more fun. Hold on, more comments. Not Gavin Hunter says, never penalize the birds. Where's my incentive to climb to the top? JD Teal says, I think the new flyers will quit, or the guys that don't have many will quit because they think mob flyers will win. Well, yeah, that's just small-minded people. Mike, you're in the best club. Steve Collins saying Mike Green's in the best club. Yes, he is. And Steve Collins says they should put the 5 bird race up first. Hawks will say thanks, LOL. And Gerber writes, I was labeled as a mob flyer with 100 Youngbird team, but I did all the extra work and I did not get any help from anyone. If, what does he say? If I do the work, they should be eligible. I don't care if my birds come last. I want, I was beat many times by fanciers with small teams. So the idea of the 5 bird clocking should be allowed to clock. Does not work. All right. So there we go. Man, we're getting lots of
You know,
comments. Ricky, we got more comments.
okay, good.
I like a reasonable shipping limit with open clocking. Okay. You know what? If you have to give or take a little bit, sure, okay. But open the clocking. If I Mike Vanderyank says if I send 100 birds, I can instruct 90 of them can run interference and block the path for the other guys, birds, and let my 10 come home in front. All right, Mike's having fun with that, and I get that. Guys, there's many ways around all this, but I think just penalizing the real racing is backwards. I'm tired, eh? This is tiring.
I think you're 100% right. I know fellows that go into unlawful races, and there may be 3,000 birds entered, and you know, say, well, how'd you make out in that race that they had? 100-mile race, the first race, 150-mile race. And he's going to me, well, you know, I got 700th position. And the next race is 200 miles. And I'm really hoping to get into under 500th position because I'm going to win some money. And he's looking for that. He's looking for that, getting into that zone where he can, and that's 500th position. But if you say, hey, bud, if you're not in the top 50, your birds are garbage. Well, wait a minute, man. I put my birds in there. All these birds, like, give me some result. And if that fellow or woman, if they get into the 300th position, they're proud. I put my birds into 3,000 birds and I'm at 300 position and I'm proud. But this EOC thing, you know, and
Okay, we got
to
some.
me, it's just plain ridiculous. And I'm just going to say one thing, Bob. Your name has been called out a lot of times today, and you should be. Are you proud of yourself, Bob?
Well,
Come
you
on and
know,
give us an answer, Bob. Come on, get off the couch and get up there and give us an
Ricky,
answer.
Ricky, 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 Ricky. He already gave the answer. He asked me nicely to not mention the EOC. He said nobody watches this show, and but you are making our combine look bad to the world. And I'm not here to make it look bad. I'm here to show a problem that combine I think has. But my problem that I'm showing, it seems like it's poking up all over in the world. It's poking up in Australia. It's poking up in British Columbia. It's poking up in lots of places. Look at the comments. Look at the comments. So I'm trying to give people the courage to say in a meeting, you know what? Stand up. You know what? You're going to have to. If you don't stand up, this sport's going to go down, down, down. And again, I am very shocked that the EOC members didn't didn't stand up, and maybe that is I don't know if people are afraid or people are scared of the bigger names, the people that have been there longer. Oh, you know, this guy's been here for 30 years or 40 years. I can't step on his toes. Maybe he'll give me a free bird. I don't know what it is. I don't know why people are so pretend and phony. We got lots of comments. Let me read some of them. JDTL, we got a question. Here's a question: why do we have a race B and a race C? Why don't we have one release, no limits? we would have 2,000 birds in a race. Well, yeah, this is right. And wouldn't that be closer to European standards? It would make it more fun. I would love to try that. Lee says, "Hello from the UK. Winners are born. Nothing to do with how many you can send." That's right. Van Zoren says, "Hoyman sends 250 pigeons. Super nice. Can I beat 249? That's what I think." He can. David Tracy says, 12 super birds with all the right training, health, will beat a group of 50, no problem. David, you're right. Alan says, "I remember the show where we said, increase the numbers, increase your odds of winning. That's why I like reasonable limits." I don't know. JD Teal says, to Ricky, to Ricky's statement on the top 50 positions, I want my birds at the lowest top 20%, 20% of them shit, but those probably getting in the what basically what he's saying is he wants to see how good the birds are. You want to see where your birds sit. And
That's
Gavin
a
Hunter
hundred
says,
percent.
"Good for you, Ryan, pointing out the EOC." And it's you know what I've heard here, Gavin. You say it's good for me pointing out the EOC. That's one combine. British Columbia, they have that problem. Look at the places that have that problem. I'm not pointing out the EOC. There's a lot of Bob Waterfalls in a lot of combines. There's a lot of them. He's the president and he has to guide the ship. He has a very big responsibility. And I think if you're not going to do what's really best for the sport and play it the way it should be played, I don't think you should be you should be doing this. And when people come up with these suggestions at the clubs and combine level or whatever, what are we doing here? Do we want participation badges? I mean, why did the why do all these clubs and combines, why are they having electronic clocks even? Think about it. A Benzing clock can cost you anywhere from $1,300 to $3,000. You got to put that out, and it's meant to clock. It'll clock the M3 will clock unlimited clocking. It'll clock thousands of pigeons, and you're making these silly little limitations because why? And you don't even have a good answer. You want people to feel good. No, you want to lie to people. You want to lie to people. That's what you want to do. You want to say to Richard, Richard, you came sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th today. You did really good, Richard. But meanwhile, I know I beat Richard with my first 100. Richard's really doing shitty, but I'm going to lie to his face and say, you were really close, Richard. You were fifth, or you were sixth, seventh, and eighth, ninth, and 10th. You know what? Why can't we be honest? Why can't we be honest? And as for Sal,
Hey,
as for the Sal guy, I was being myself and saying, I think that's a moronic statement. I'm allowed to think this. He wants an apology. He demanded an apology. You know what? Do you want me to be phony? I'm sorry. That's phony. That's being phony, isn't it? Would you not say that's being phony?
yep.
Yeah, that's being phony. But you know what? You wanted it like a little kid. He crying for his nummy, his little sucky, crying, he's crying, he's crying. Guess what? I don't want to hear you cry. Give him the little soother. Very, very sorry. I'm sorry we can't be real in this world. Because people don't like reality. You know what people like? Bullshit. People like to be lied to, and people like the feel goods. The feel goods, eh? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. One thing I can't stand about people in this world, they're talking left, they're talking right. And you know what? When those people who talk left and right, they always have the knife super sharp. So when you turn around, they slip it into your back. I just talk regular, and it gets me into trouble. We have more comments. Every bird should have a tracking band Oh, we can get an accurate speed. Yeah, we're you know what? If we have to put tracking bands on all of them, these people will be really screwed up. They'll be fighting, and oh, his tracker band's not working. He should be disqualified. Great idea. I love it, but uh, Sean says if the old timers want limits, they should go back to the old capsule clocks and let the real racers. I will say one thing. I was talking to Leandra Munich, and they have one race a year in Holland in their club that they all have to use a manual clock for the race. I kind of think that's kind of fun. I mean,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Jason Mihalik says, "Hey, I'm in British Columbia. That five-bird limit has been implemented for more than 30 years. Peeman implemented it so the new generation can end up in the sheet after 300 miles, open it up clocking." Well, you know, Chris Peeman put that in so people could feel good. I don't think that's very right. Again, we have to be phony to people. Let's be phony. Let's give everyone a little sticker or a piece of gum and say, congratulations. You really suck, but here's feel good. Michael Peeler says, how many clubs make up the EOC? I think five or six. I don't know that exact number.
That's Bob. Bob, he should come on and tell us.
Bob
He's
won't.
probably watching the show. Hey, Bob, how many members you got in your EOC?
I don't know. They got, hold on. Mike Green says, the truth hurts. Jason McHale says, I really feel good when I win the 450-mile race. Yeah, because in British Columbia, the only real races are after 300 miles because that's when the clocking is allowed. I agree, Ryan. One race a year, manual clocks would be cool. It would be cool. Think about it, eh? When there was clocking with a manual clock, you had to clock the bird, run into the loft, pick up the bird, do your thing. Okay? How many times? And we all had some fun. The first race of the year, you'd run in there and grab that first young bird, and you'd clock him. And he looked like he was scared out of his mind because you come in with that adrenaline. It's different than what he's ever seen. The next week, the same young bird hits the board, and the young bird goes,
He won't. He won't come
"Uh-uh,
in.
I'm not going in, you son of a bitch." Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's pigeon flying, man. We
Yeah.
lost that. We lost it. We
The
lost
the pigeon
with
the pigeon could feel your heartbeat before he even landed. He could feel that excitement right through your body.
and wait a minute, Richard. Didn't you have more excitement? You did.
It was exciting. Yeah.
It was a sport, man. You had to run down to the loft, and how many times we laughed? It was raining, and you had to run down the hill, and you'd slip with your shoe and you'd fall, or something would
Yeah.
happen. You'd trip in the loft,
Yeah.
or you'd drop the little gummy on the floor. And I remember it in our loft for fun. We would take the ring the gummies off and throw them on the floor because we had dry litter. Well, you'd pull the gummy off, it would slip out of your hand, fall, and there'd be four other gummies on the floor.
Well,
What
I
would you
I
do?
remember one time. Yeah, I remember one time. What we had two races, two a long and a short, two races on one day, and then I thought I was clocking birds, and I thought we had enough rubbers on that one race in the clock because the benzing had held I don't know how many birds, 12 birds, 15 birds, and you came and you said to me something. I said, hey, we got enough birds. I just took that bird, that band, and I threw it over the fence into the grass, and you said, you dummy, we didn't do this. You didn't. I had to jump the fence to try and find a band. Remember?
Yeah,
Xavier told you he had a problem there one time
okay. Uh,
in
hold
an
on.
open race.
Hold on. So we got way more comments. So people are, you know what, guys, give yourselves a round of applause tonight, people. You guys are participating, and that's what makes this show great. So I'm going to read some more comments. If people don't like your views, they should have their own site. And he says, hi, Jason. Mike Vanderjak's done his research. The EOC has 7 clubs. Okay. Antonio Rodriguez says, "You think the mob flyers would fly hundreds if they had to put $50 tracking bands on them?" I think you know what. I think people are so crazy in the sport that you will see people that they will do that. Uh, Tracking bands or not, whatever. I'm not against it. You can have a race with tracking bands. You can do that, Antonio. You could have a race that everyone has to have a tracking band on and put 4 or 5 birds in that, where it's a little bit more cost efficient and still have your big race. That'd be super cool. Finding the medium ground here. About 60 members, says Mike Vandriak. So 60 members are afraid. That's what Mike's saying. I remember using, Frank Eichhorn says, I remember using manual clocks, ran to the loft, and lost the key in the high grass. Never forget it. Wasted 10 minutes looking for it. You see, Frank? This is why you never lock your pigeon loft on race day, because you got to get in and out quick. Chris Marshman, she has a comment. That's why my first 2 years, it was awesome. Look at this. Chris Marshman says her first 2 years of flying, I guess she started flying just before she got electronic clocks, before they came in. It was awesome. And it is awesome. It's a fun feeling. It's amazing to be a part of it because you have to be a part of it. It's not just a stupid clock. It's you getting them in. It's you picking it up. It's you pulling it off. It's you putting it in. And you know what? You feel like you've raced as well as the bird. And you know what? You can come back to your seat and have a drink. Hold on, we got more
Hey,
comments.
listen to this one. I remember Charlie. Can't remember his last name. He was a German fella, and I said, we're talking. I said, "Hey, Charlie," because he had manual clock, right? We all had manual clocks. I said, "Well, how is it for you when the birds come?" He said, "Oh, I sit in my backyard." He said, "I have a beer and I have my clock beside me." He said, "The pigeon has to come and land on my lap." Then he took the rubber off and put it in the clock. Like this guy here, he had his birds. Charlie Boss was his name. He had the birds keyed in, just like, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, those were the days.
Those were the days. Alan says, I still feel that excitement when they come home. And I still feel it's excitement, but you do lose that little bit of you and the bird together. I believe it. I believe it's still better with the clocks. Jason says, "Hello, how old is John Willis?" Okay, so let's see what John says. What distance should the first race be for old birds and young birds? Gerber asks. What should be the first distance? I mean, you can have a race that can be 100 kilometers or 60 miles. You can have it, I think, up to 100 miles or 120 miles. I think that's good. It depends
We
on
we
the. I think a 70-mile race is good. 50 miles, 60 miles, I think it's fine.
we used to have it here. The first race to here was 57 miles with Shago to here. 57 miles. The guys up in Aurelia, God, they were probably only flying 25 miles. Guys in Toronto were flying maybe 70 miles,
I think a
you
race
know?
is a race. I think it's whatever you think. I mean, I wouldn't go crazy with the young birds maybe for the first race past 150, but I mean, I think between 120, 100, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, good. JD Teal says, why in the world of sweet baby Jesus would you put tracking bands on birds in a race? I don't know. I'm not. I've never been really
And
interested in the
yeah,
tracking. I,
he's
I just
he's got
I
a
think
good
it
point
makes
there.
me more nuts in the head. um, and I don't know. I still have this feeling that tracking bands do something with the magnetic, something in the bird's brain. I don't think you get a good. I don't know. I don't think you get the best reading. Maybe I'm wrong. I've never experienced them, so I don't know. Hold on. Whoa, we got comments, Ricky. It's getting crazy now.
Holy shit.
He used to be my Canary, what? Any, my Cairney antibody? Use my, I don't know. I can't read that one. How many birds could you clock with those old clocks? I think the old clocks, I think the biggest ones would clock 25, but most of them clock between 12 and
I think it was about 12 birds.
12 birds.
12 birds. Yeah.
And then they had the bigger ones that come out that clocked, I think 24. They went around twice or something.
Yeah, I'm
But
not
again,
sure.
that
That
was
time's passing now. We're talking. I think time has passed. Probably what 25, 30 years. I can't even remember.
yeah.
30 years ago.
And here
Yeah.
Alan says open clocking with a pickbird. That's great. I like that idea. My mother, Van Zoren says, my mother also did the pigeons at that time. My father was working. She had to, she had early pigeons, and my mother put the rings in her mouth to get the clock. She swallowed the ring. Ha ha ha. See the
That's a
stories.
yeah.
Listen, but you don't
Yeah.
get those stories with an electronic clock.
It can happen. It can happen by accident. I'm telling you.
Okay, here we go. 30 years, David Tracy says, 30 years ago, I had, what did he say? I had 22 birds on the drop from 300 miles, and I was pulling the counter marks off and stuffing them in my mouth. I was I was catching my birds and pulling the clock. Guys are still teasing me about that.
Yeah. What about the clocks when you had to put the bands in the capsule? So you had to get the band off the bird, then you had to get the capsule, put the band in the capsule, close it, shove it in the clock, and that. I know we used to check the clocks. There was a lot of feathers coming out too. When they turned the thing, there's feathers coming out.
Hey, yeah, that's right. That's true. Or sometimes I remember at the club, sometimes the clocks would get jammed because the guy punched it before the gummy fell in far enough, and it got twisted
Yeah.
and hold on. So John Willis, he's 80 years young. Nice to see you on, John. I don't know where you're watching from, but 81 years and he's still going strong. He's a pigeon flyer, so he could be an asshole too, but hey, it's okay,
Oh, wait a
John.
minute.
We're on your
Wait a
team.
minute. Hold on. John is 81 and he's been called an asshole more than twice in his life, and he just shrugged it off and kept back going at it again. Nowadays, you can't call a guy an asshole because you're going to get suspended. You're going to get this and that. That's part of the sport. Hey, listen, you think when a guy's playing hockey, he's playing up against the other guy, he looks at him and says, "You're an asshole. Your mother's a whore. You're this and that." Soccer, the same thing, all those
Okay, Ricky, I
sports.
gotta keep going to comment. Uh,
Yeah.
Antonio says, so because electronic clocks, so this is what Antonio says. So because of electronic clocks, people start flying more birds. Um, I don't, yeah, I don't know if that's why people fly more
I,
birds. I mean, we had
I know
electronic
that.
clocking and we flew 12 birds for old birds and we flew a whole season with only 12 birds. And then we've flown young bird years where we've had 50. We've had young bird years, we had 20. We've had young bird years, we've had 100. We had electronic clocks. I don't know. JD Teal says, Ricky and Ryan, I am so proud of you. Two, no arguing with each other. Love yous all. Well, Ricky, those
Hey,
glasses are
listen,
still ugly.
JD Teal. I'm going to say it right now. Ryan is an asshole at
Yeah,
sometimes.
I am. Watch it. Eh? I want it next week. I want an apology from you, and I want you to really, really mean it. Okay? Hold on a second. Frank Eichhorn. He says my mom used to run half a block to the neighbors to clock her dad's birds. Uh,
Yeah, that's right too. And
okay.
I know when they had the first clocks in Europe, they had one clock in the Times Square or in
In the
the
center.
Times Square, and yeah, in the center, and they used to have to take the band. They would pay a
Kids.
young person that could run fast or ride the bicycle fast to get into the town square to clock that band. That
Uh,
was before
Hold
my
on.
time.
Now, guys, we're all going to call Mike Green an asshole now, okay? Because Mike Green,
Okay.
he's one of those guys. Mike Green says, my manual clock would clock 16. My last manual clock would clock 24. So Mike was one of those mob flyers that everyone hated at the club because he invested in the bigger clock, right? I can already see this coming. So Mike, we're going to give
Yeah.
you the you're the asshole of the night award. Okay? You're
Yeah.
getting it. No.
But
Okay, hold
I'll
on.
tell you though, we used to be able to put two bands in one slot. Two bands. If you got birds on a drop, take the bands off, jam two in, bang,
Hold
you
on.
get a reading.
Antonio Rodriguez says electronic clocks is the downfall of pigeon racing. I do believe. I think it takes a bit of that romance out. It takes a bit of that human fun out. Yes, I know people made electronic clocks so you could go to your kid's soccer game or you could go to a wedding. But you know what? In pigeon season, it's pigeon time, right? It's like when you're in the winter time and you go and you go play bowling in the winter time once a week. That's your bowling night. Well, pigeon racing on Saturdays or on the weekend, that was pigeon racing, and the clocking screwed it up. Mike Vanderyak says capsules had to go into the clock hinge side up. Think about it, eh? If you had the with the capsules, you had to put the hinge side up. So how many times would pigeon flyers in the excitement screw it up? JD Teal says this has been the best family show in a while. I don't know if it's been the best one. It's just you know what? I'm not gonna tippy toe around and worry about every person that I hurt feelings for. I'm not here to hurt your feelings, and I'm not here to agree. Richard's not here to agree with everything. We don't always agree, and if we say something that hurts your feelings, hey, it's okay. Next week's a new week. We're gonna be back
Okay.
on. We're gonna
Yeah.
keep voicing our opinion.
Can I say something right now? Hey, Bob, you had a bit of a rest now for 5 or 10 minutes. Bob, come on, get off the couch. Come on, let's shoot the shit, Bob.
Okay, hold on. Uh, Jason Mihalik says, "Hey John, I remember when you got visit me. We had a few beers. It was nice to see you. Hey, look at this. Two old friends saying hello to each other on this silly show. They're both from BC or from Vancouver. And John Willis says he's from Victoria, BC. So John and Jason now they're saying hi to each other. Listen, Bob, we're tearing down walls and we're building bridges now. Recall up the EOC meeting. Play this show. Play this show in the room. And guess what? Everybody just sit there and read the comments. And guess what? Fix your club, fix your combine, fix it for everyone. Let Sam Ferreira in. Let the other guy, I don't know what his name was, I can't remember his name. Let him in.
Bill,
Bill, whatever his name is, let him in. Get rid of the clocking limits, but I want you to implement your 5 bird shipping for the second race. And I want you to see how that works out. And I think that's great. And you're always welcome on the show, Bob. You always
hey,
are. But
Bob, remember one thing. Ryan, my name's Richard. Everyone hates us. Okay, Bob? Get it straight, man. The whole organization, they all hate us. Why? Because the truth hurts.
hold on. More comments. Uh, Jason Mihalik says in 95, okay, if you had a manual clock, you got 5 seconds from the electronic clocks. That was the rule. Can you see already? They were giving 5 seconds. Listen, there's no way you can clock a bird 5 seconds compared to an electronic clock. It's probably 20 seconds, 25 seconds, maybe more. But that
There's
was
no
good.
way.
Five
There's no way
seconds.
you can get off your chair and run, grab the bird, You have plucked it to get the band off it. Then you shoved it in your mouth. You swallowed it. Takes
Hold on.
7 years to
Digest a
digest
rink.
a band.
Hey, you know what, guys? You guys are doing great, so I'm going to keep this going. In the 80s, I needed to get the bands from the pigeon and run to the closest manual clocking who has. Okay, so Jason had to do that in the 80s. He had to get the band and run. And Jason, he was so quick that he was thinking about going for the Olympic 500 meters in Canada to be on the Olympic team. Hold on. Van Zoren writes something in Dutch, which only Frank will know. And if Frank knows what he said, if you could just post that in there, that would be great. Hold on. No one would have, okay, Antonio Rodriguez says, no one would have a 10 bird drop with old clocks. Well, they would have a 10 bird drop, but it was it was it was just a little different time. And
Well, I know when you had those clocks, you would actually, if you got a 5 or 10 bird clock or a drop, you would know certain birds in that group that, let's say, was gaining points to go
yeah,
ahead, and you'd say, I'm just going to give you an example. Oh, that cock, he's in the 10 bird. I gotta get his band and put that in there so he would get the points. Like you just did, if you got that kind of a drop, just didn't grab anybody and
yeah,
and put them in. You would you
I
would you would select certain birds. If you had to be quick with your eye, you go, that clock, boom, that bird, I gotta put him in because he's getting points. Do you know what I mean?
right. Okay, so hold on. We're Jason Mihalik says, and I was first from 960 kilometers. So we're not sure if Jason ran 960 kilometers to the clocking center, but he was first. So he was either first at running that distance or his bird was first. But hey, we give you a thumbs up, Jason, for that. Mike Green says, LOL, I got called that all the time. I know you did, Mike, because you're that kind of guy. And Mike, one good thing about Mike Green, uh, he's like a good old pair of work boots or pair of jeans. He's tough. He goes through it no problems. Kristen Marshman says, honestly, Sam was accepted in our club, Peterborough Club, 100%. But the EOC won't let him fly because they won't say why. They have proof apparently why he was banned, but no one had provide the reason for the club. So what this is saying to me, and again, I don't know, this is only what Kristen Marshman is saying, but Sam was apparently accepted into the Peterborough Club, which good for the Peterborough Club. But the
Yeah.
Combine, the EOC, which Bob is the leader of, they're not giving a reason, but they say they have evidence of what Sam did that was so bad and naughty. That's why they're not letting him in. I think you should go to the Canadian Racing Pigeon Union and file a complaint. But the problem is, when you're filing the complaint for Sam Ferreira, could you file one for Richard and myself as well? Because you people in Canada, you're paying the CU these union dues, and it's only to load up the bank with. They don't do nothing to help anybody. So that's a train wreck there as well. And unfortunately, I feel really bad for Sam Ferreira. Uh, and I really think that
Let,
the
let,
EOC needs to be investigated. It needs to get lawyers involved. It needs to get an outside body to
let,
look into
let,
what the
let,
bad
let,
reasons
let me
were.
ask this Kristen Marshman person. Um, how long has she actually known this Sam Ferreira as a pigeon flyer? And then, yeah, I want to know really how terrible this person is to get this kind of a penalty in something that he enjoys so much.
Yeah.
Kristen Marshman, if she can come back with that, please.
Okay, hold on.
I gotta
And
let the dog out.
I never heard of this one, but maybe Antonio, maybe you're right. And I think electronic bands might be screwing up with the bird's homing abilities. Maybe that is so. I've never thought of that. I just talked about those tracking bands, but I don't know if they have something different in them. But that's a really an excellent thing to think about. Imagine everyone training their birds with no electronic rings on, and see if there's a difference, if there's less losses. That would be interesting. That would be very interesting. Jason Mihalik says 960 kilometers. I will thirsty club and six in the country. I was 17 years old. Okay, congratulations, Jason. Hey, that's a good memory for you. And you were 17 years old. That really hooked you in pigeon racing, which is great. Running to the neighbors on the top of that to clock your bird. Okay, I get that. Kristen says she's known Sam for 20 years. Okay. And I don't I know Sam very little. I don't think he's a I don't know. I think he's fine. I think he likes flying pigeons. I think he probably has certain opinions or things that he thinks that are different than everyone else. But I don't think Sam's done anything to harm anybody or to do anything. No, I think it's ridiculous that the EOC will not let him in, and I think they should get lawyers to investigate why he is not allowed in. And I think they owe everyone the right. And then they need to look at really what did Sam do. And unfortunately, we're using Sam's name. And I know some people say that I shouldn't use people's names. Shitty. Shitty always says that. You know who Shitty is, Ricky. Shitty doesn't like
Yeah,
it
I
when I
know.
use people's names. But
Shit down your throat. Yeah.
yeah, Shitty. We call him Shitty now.
Yeah, and
Anyways,
I think
oh,
that the CU, they're a union where people pay their dues. Sam's been paying 20 years into CU dues, and the CU, Sam shouldn't pay for this through the lawyers. The CU should do this
well, sure, 100%.
to
100%. Sam should pay.
protect this
Sam's
man.
Sam's been paying from what Kristen knows. Sam's been a part of the CU for 20 or 30 years. That's $50 a year or $100 a year. He's got some money there in the bank. And
Yeah,
and all the members should help him with the CU dues. The union should stand up and investigate the Eastern Ontario Combine, and that means looking into the books that Bob holds as the president. They should open the books up and see what naughty little things Sam Ferreira did to have a seems like a lifelong ban from flying pigeons in a combine that he is in. He can be in. So I think research needs to be done. And I hope people in the EOC stand up and try and help Sam. And I hope Sam goes to the uh, Canadian Racing Pigeon Union and asks for help and see what they say to him. I'm very interested to know. But I mean, that's up to Sam and the EOC to do that. Uh, Chris says he's a very nice person. Antonio Rodriguez says, I would like to have a season with old clocks, no electronics, and see if there's less losses. Hold on, Jason Mihalik says, I still can't show that in a busy. I was the first at the 450. Okay, we're having fun tonight. Okay, Ryan, that was your longest race you won. What was your longest race? Oh, I don't know. I think what's the longest one? I think my longest one is how far is Hearst? 450 miles?
450. Yeah,
Yeah.
450.
Okay. That's
450. I
oh
remember
no,
I came second to a big deal, but second to Volker Vale at Long Lac, which is 500 miles, just a little over 500 miles. And if you go back on the shows, I was bragging about it. I was second to Volker, but I was 2 hours and 20 minutes behind him at Long
yeah,
Lac. I was second in the club.
and
and that was
I just want to say, no, Jason, your result that you got at the 900, you were 17 years old. That's a great result. What I was saying was that result that hooked you into pigeons more. It's great. It's exciting. So I wasn't saying anything that wasn't great or maybe misunderstood me there, but those are the little things, the beautiful things, the romantic things about pigeon racing. And people forget those because it's electronic clocking and it's all this shit now. Let's keep going here. We got a few
I
more
remember
comments.
I remember one time I got a bird came from a race. It was one of the first races. Uh, first what? No, it wasn't. He was getting points, and he hit the board, and a hawk picked him right off the board and nailed him on the ground and killed him. I ran over, scared the hawk away. The hawk left him. I picked the bird up, grabbed the band off him, and put him in the clock. It was like I said, "Hey, bud, here you go. You get a few more points." And yeah, I'd like this. I would like Sam to come on the show if he's watching, and he should know why he was expelled.
Yeah, who
He
knows? I
should
don't know. I
he,
don't
he
know.
should know why.
Yeah, maybe he will. Van Zoren says the young pigeons get their chips as early as possible so they can get used to radiation or whatever. That's a very smart idea. That's a good idea. Antonio says if Jason had a cycle, might have done a bit better. Oh,
What, a motorcycle?
a bicycle or a motorcycle or
And
something. Who knows?
cycle?
Seems like me, but okay. Jason says seems like me, but he is in a mountain. Okay, I don't have no clue what's going on here. Gavin Hunter says CRA. I don't know what the CRA is. Does anybody know what the CRA is? Jason says this. That's hard. That's hard at the pigeon finger for the long distance. Oh, um, Gavin Hunter says Bob doesn't know what. Don't treat. Don't treat on me. Doesn't know what. Don't tear on me or something. Okay. Hold on. Antonio Rodriguez says you guys in Canada should have a race with Americans. You're the people to set it up, Ryan. I should have a race with Americans. Oh, geez, that would be fun. Mike Jason Mihalik says he's only 60 years old now, so he's still in good shape. And you know what? Good job. We got a few more comments. Holy jumping. Okay.
How fast could he run though? Like right now, like the
Okay.
100 yards.
We don't know, but here's a compliment to Jason Mihalik from Gerber Bar. Jason is one of the true long distance flyers. Guys left in British Columbia. Everyone else seems too scared to fly long distance. I think if you don't fly long distance, the birds lose that homing ability. Yeah, long distance flying is great. It's beautiful. Again, it's romantic and it's a different talent and different pigeons. And you have to respect the long distance pigeons, like the sprint pigeons, but it's different. And I think long distance racing is great and it's super fun and it makes barbecuing awesome.
Oh yeah, 100%. And you know the best thing on a long distance race, if you're flying, let's say 500 miles, the best thing is have at least 6 to 12 beers into you. That means when the bird comes, you just relax and just go up there, say, "Hey, come on, let's go." Boom, boom, boom. That's it. Very nice. Nice feeling.
Yeah,
If you can get off the lawn chair, right?
yeah, that's right. Mike Vandiak says Miller was running the Can-Am race back in the 1930s.
Whoa.
JD Teal says everyone here is consumed by young bird racing. Old birds have been put on the back burner. Yes, and that's another thing in North America. People just don't have the time, and people lost People lost pigeon racing at home because it's one loft racing and whatever it is. The beauty is becoming out of it.
I think Mike's right. I think the uh, what
You
you
mean
call
JD?
who
JD's right.
JD or
Yeah.
Mike. I thought Mike said it, but
No.
I think people want today everything fast, fast food, fast this. So young birds racing, right? Whereas old bird racing is it's different. You're gonna make birds that can go out to 500 miles, let's say. So it takes time to develop it. A lot of people don't want to spend this time nowadays. They just want it fast. Get it over with fast, right?
You
Do
know,
you agree?
you know what? We only rush for one thing, Ricky. Do you know what we all rush for? We get rushed. We rush our whole lives to go into that pine box. That's what we're rushing for. Instead of sitting and enjoying a little bit of life, a little bit, people are rushing like, I hate to say it, like idiots. Tonight, guys, I'm here in Belgium. The show started at 2 o'clock in the morning. Okay? I had a little sleep before because I want to come on and I want to talk pigeons and I want to be a part of this and I want to talk pigeons and talk good things and bad things. And I know tonight we're hard on the EOC or we're hard on Bob or we're hard on this, hard on that. I'm only being hard because I want to see it get better, not worse. Um, and you know what? The pigeons can't talk, so we'll talk for the pigeons and we'll talk for the people. And these are only our views. And everybody who participated tonight, I give you guys a round of applause. Stand up a little bit. Stand up in life a little bit. It's good for you. That backbone, that fire in your belly, you have to use that. You have to fight and dig and push. And if you don't, they'll push you down and they'll say, you sit there and be quiet. And I see it and I'm seeing it in a lot of combines all around the world. And it's very, very sad. It's very sad. And again, I did have a nice conversation with Bob. I gave him the opportunity. And he said, his last words were, nobody watches your show, but you're making us look bad to the world. You know what? You're making it look bad, not me. I'm here to talk pigeons, talk pigeon sport. And next week, we're going to talk some more pigeon stuff. But I want to say we got some great auctions coming up. Really good. Some more good interviews. The match pair this week, both match pairs are on fire. We've got Dan Rago, guys. It's a 2 thumbs up. We got Guy Vandenauer. It's a 3 thumbs up. I don't know what more to say. Ricky, great show tonight. We've been on for 2 hours. I think the people tonight made the show the best. I think this is one of our best shows because of the people. You guys participated, and we appreciate that. And I'm sure I'll get a lecture this week. So, anybody that I've hurt their feelings, I'm very sorry. Bob, I'm sorry. The EOC, I'm sorry. And Sal, I'm very sorry. Ricky, got anything else to say before I shut this show down?
Hey, Bob, come on the show. I know you folks had some kind of a show like this down east, and you cut us off of uh, any things that we spoke about on your show. You automatically cut it off. Said, "Hey, it's Richard here. I want to make a Oh, cut him off. Cut him off. We don't cut you off, Bob. We're not cutting you off. Come on the show.
That's right. And I'm
Don't
gonna
be afraid. Don't be afraid, Bob. Guess what, Bob? I'm an asshole, and so are you.
That's right. And guys, you're just seeing these adverts I'm posting up. Take a look at them. Take a look at the match pairs. Take a look at the auctions that we have running. Wow, it's exciting to be uh, at Feathers Elite Pigeon Auctions, and we're giving back to you, the buyers. We're giving some cash prizes in stored credit away. It's great. Pigeon Boss Awards. Get your results in. Remember, all you've got to show is Feathers Elite in that pedigree. The birds that you've purchased from us, and you're the best ones are going to win some money. So let's see. A big shout out to Frank Eichhorn for the first one to enter. Uh, Ricky, good show tonight.
Yep,
Great show for
I
the
enjoyed
people.
it.
We'll be on again next Monday night. Tune in, guys. And I got to drive back now. 4 o'clock in the morning. Hopefully, I'll be in bed by 5 after I calm down. And again, I'm very sorry. People, don't be so sensitive because I'm an asshole and so are you. We all are. We're all going to be assholes, and we all have those days where you're going to hate me and I'm going to hate you, but we all have the same thing in common. We love pigeons and we love pigeon flying. And let's go back to those manual clocks. That's Richard. I'm Ryan. Feathers Elite Pigeon Auctions. Like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for flying with me, guys. Stay out of
Good
trouble.
night, folks.
Good night, Bob.
Have a
Bye for now.
good night. Good night, Bob. Take care, Bob.